Okay, we're on the air now.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. The information I've been looking at is correlated with what Patrick is doing, and it's a different vein of thinking, and it's more practical from the point of view that when I found the forms and I found the procedures that allows you to go in and claim any court case and have it removed out of commerce and placed into probate, stops all of the commercial activities, and now each of the entities that are coming and making the charges have to prove up, which goes right back to probate and the necessities as to validate the creditor's claim and have an audit as to whether or not that's valid or legitimate. And it actually will manhandle any event that is coming down the pike. The whole idea about the nationality is that it also supports the fact that you're not a U.S. citizen, therefore you're exempt from being a U.S. citizen, which places you as a natural entity, as an executor over these accounts that the United States set up. So by walking into a court and announcing that the court has to consider the fact that this is an estate and a probate issue, the court, without its discrimination or discretion, cannot avoid the fact that you announce that this needs to be moved into the jurisdiction of probate, predicated on the birth certificate and the Social Security account as being an estate, and that you're the executor of that estate. If they fail to do that, an appeals court will throw any judgment.
Stop right there, Chris. Please. Okay? You are not the executor. You are the executive officer, but you assign them to be the executor. The king never gets his hands dirty. Okay? The executor is the one who is wielding the axe to chop the head off. Okay? So you do not want to be the executor. You do not have the account in your hands. You assign them to be the executor to execute your actions. Any problem with that? Chris? Does anybody have any problem with being the executive officer vice being the executor?
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
You want to be the head guy, okay? And that's the executive officer out here. You don't want to be the one down there getting your hands dirty in the process, and you don't even have control of the account. So you can't be the executor.
Yes, you're the occupant of the office. That makes sense.
Yeah. Does the president get his hands dirty?
Never.
No. Basically, he has all the other minions go out there and do all his dirty work for him. And see, we are an American executive, postmaster. It's laid out right in the Constitution. We the people. That means we are the executive office holders over the corporate government.
Would that constitute our occupation?
What?
So would that constitute our occupation as being the executive officer?
Well, we are a postmaster. We have a post in life, okay? We can still work another job, that basically our prime job is that we are the American executive postmaster out here. And we issue, you go into the post office, okay? Does the postmaster order you, or do you order the postmaster? You give your orders to that post office. So you're the executive officer in the process. They are just an administrative postmaster.
Yes. Is this why the success with the executive letter has been so powerful?
If they stay out of placing themselves as the executor, that would be powerful. But most people have turned around and got themselves into being the executor. So you step right back into the frying pan. That executrix and executor items that some of these guys have been pushing out here, they just get you into trouble. Because you don't have the account to set it off. We do know how to do this now. Now, I put a new money order, had Tom post a new money order up there, and I made a few more changes to it, okay? Because we are drawing from, like on, hopefully everybody's got a copy of that money order, okay? We're coming in as the American Executive Postmaster money order. And then it's drawn from my executive U.S. Treasury account. So it's our executive Treasury, U.S. Treasury account. You move the U.S. behind executive in most of these items in the going through that item and take off postal treasury. We'll just say that we got a treasury account, okay? And then the U.S. Treasury has postal departments within it also, postal treasury accounts.
So, Patrick, we're taking out, under the memo, we're taking out postal in front of Treasury.
We're taking out, postal in front of Treasury.
But the rest stays the same?
And we're replacing, we're saying, drawn against my executive U.S. Treasury passbook savings account.
Okay. And then it says, again, later on, it says U.S. obligations by the U.S. Postal. We do the same thing again?
Leave that there.
Leave that there.
Yeah, that's the postal treasury, and that's called out. That's called out in the statutes.
Okay. So just the first one, it's postal comes out in U.S. Okay, what else?
Okay. The next line is states the U.S. administrative postmasters, and then put /bankers. Because all these bankers out here, they have an EIN, and they are under the control of the U.S. administrative system. They may think that they're independent bankers and all that, but they're not. They have an EIN, so they are basically tied in to being under the U.S. administrative banking system.
Patrick,
Yes.
we're having some internet problems, and I missed what you did under the first. Right under the memo, we removed the first occurrence of the word postal drawn against my U.S. Executive Treasury passbook.
We say against my executive U.S. Treasury.
Okay.
You always put the U.S. behind executive. See, we are an American executive. We're not a U.S. executive. Right at the very beginning of the Constitution, it says, we the people. That means we are the executive over the corporation. And we come of age at the age of, and we full 25 years of age. You have the right to veto, do an executive veto at the age of 21, when you have the right to vote. Now, along that lines, you get a bill. Okay, just like the president gets a bill. He has the right of veto of that bill that comes up from Congress. You get a bill from the utility company. You come in there and you put a stamp on the one side, and basically you come in as the executive postmaster over this account, and you veto it. Not accept it for value, you veto it. And then see reverse side for executive order, for additional executive order. On the back side, you will put another 3-cent stamp, and you do a 3-cent stamp on the front, you sign and date it, and cancel it. On the back, you put another 3-cent stamp, you sign and date it, and you put your new executive order on there that they are to process that against the funds that they need, that they are to offset that from the funds that they need to pay back to the Treasury. Then sign and date it.
So, Patrick, the front has a 3-cent stamp with your signature and date, not your thumbprint.
You can put your thumbprint, initial and date, thumbprint, emboss it too. Okay,
and
because
then,
basically it's going to go on the right-hand side, upper corner, and then when you do the back one, it's going to go on the opposite side.
The left side.
It'll still be on the right-hand side, but it will be, as it appears on the front side, it'll be on the left-hand side.
Right. But
Okay.
the back of the money order has that for delivering cash, blah, blah, blah.
Well, now this is not the money order. This is on a bill from a utility company.
Oh, okay, got it.
Or a traffic ticket, or anything. They are they're giving you a bill. Okay? And you're the executive officer. Now, as the executive officer, you can veto any bill.
Okay, so sorry.
You don't accept the bill for value, you veto it. And then order them to set it off from the funds that they owe back to the Treasury, because they had no money to begin with. They had to borrow it. All corporations have to zero their books at the beginning of the year. So they borrow the money to operate, and they borrow from the Treasury, either against our accounts or against the whole Treasury entirely. So
Patrick,
as we are as we are an American executive postmaster, we can veto these items. In a court action, you have the right to veto the charge and order them to set it off against whatever item they're utilizing. The driver's license, which is another sub-lifeboat account, or the certificate of title to the vehicle or the certificate of title to the house on your mortgage. You veto that bill, and you order them to set it off from what that bank or whoever owes back to the Treasury. That's how an executive officer operates. He vetoes. And we've heard about a few people going in and basically using the word veto in a court action. And you are an executive court standing over them because they're just an administrative court. So you're the highest court in the land.
Can I ask a question about that?
Okay.
I have a friend of mine who is he was a mortgage broker at one point, and he actually was found guilty recently of fudging a mortgage application. So he was sentenced to 2 years, and he's going to be starting the sentence in September. Is there a way of him doing this process so that he doesn't have to go?
Yes, it's a charge, okay? Basically, all he has to do is veto the charge. But he has to stand as an executive officer out here. You're up in Canada, right?
So he'd have to do a little bit of. Well, I'm in Canada, but my friend is in Illinois.
Oh, he's in Illinois? Yeah. Basically, then he turns around and
Yes.
as an executive officer, who does he contact? If it's a state charge, he contacts the state postmaster general and assigns the state postmaster general to be the executor to settle that matter.
He's actually he was indicted in federal court.
Okay, if he's in federal court, then he would go to the postmaster general and assign the postmaster general as the executor, or even to the president of the United States and assign him to be the executor to settle that matter.
Hang on, I have a problem with all that one. First
Why?
of all, if he's a broker, he damaged people by the fraud he committed. So if there's a damaged party, he can't get his way out of that. He has to go to court. There's damaged parties involved there.
Okay,
Well,
now
actually, he was.
It doesn't matter. He damaged some people by what he did. He has to pay for that one way or another. That's not a commercial crime.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was an individual. Okay, you're right. If he did that, and basically he was operating in, he wasn't operating as a private individual. He was operating in his office capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going to have to try and probably do the time in that regards.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't help all the stupid idiots out here.
Right. Okay.
And basically, there's a bunch of them out here.
Yeah.
I mean, you get somebody off one day, and then basically turn around the next day, they're out there doing something damn stupid and getting right back in trouble. Sometimes you almost have to just wash your hands of those and walk away from them and say, well, nice knowing you. When you get out, maybe you'll learn something, and basically then come and we'll talk.
Another beauty of this process here, I was talking to Pat earlier on it, if anybody has a mortgage problem with this, of course you have, B10 forms and stuff, that's another way, but you can order payment, have them send you a certified copy of the payment that's owed, and then make payment. But first, before the Treasury sends out any checks, it has to go to the OCC, Office Controller of Currency. He's got to verify whether it's a legitimate claim or not. Well, since there is no mortgage and you loaned the bank the money, he can't pay it off. So that puts the bank in quite a pickle.
Yeah, but basically, if you do an executive order as a veto of that mortgage, and then you do a counter order on the back side of that mortgage. And see, we were talking about counter orders on the back. And we do the counter order and order them to set it off from the funds that bank borrowed from the Treasury.
Veto upon proof of claim. Send them a B10 form, that's all. They'll run away from that B10 form. It's like throwing water on a witch.
Yeah. But we don't want to try and use their forms as much as possible. The only thing that we will basically ever more than likely do down the road here, and see, this money dash order is in postal treaties and also in U.S. statutory contracts of law. And if the banks, all these bankers out here have an EIN, so they are under the administrative controls of the U.S. corporation. They may try and act like they're independent, and they may try and ban you, but they're public. They have to have their doors open to you. Okay? And if you basically get harmed by them, you go to another general and file charges against them. And that is the Comptroller General. He is in charge of all the bankers.
Okay, on that guy, may I jump in here for a second, Pat?
Yeah.
On that guy going to jail there is a way for him out of it. Whoever the damaged party is, use his exemption or his money in his account to make restitution to the guy he damaged by giving him what the damage was plus 2 times or 3 times the damage he caused him, and he could buy his way out of it that way if the other party agrees. That'd be the other way.
Yeah, he can buy it out from the individual who harmed, because the only way that he can really go to jail is if there was somebody out there, not the state, but somebody out there actually claiming harm against him. If it's the state that's trying to do it, the corporation, then basically the corporation should have had a insurance policy, a liability insurance policy on that office he was holding. Now, if they're claiming that they got injured in the insurance process, then basically all he has to do is make a payment with one of these money orders.
Okay, I just want to put a little bit more information here. My friend actually just filled out an application for a mortgage for a friend of his and fudged the earnings so that the guy could get a bigger house. And the guy ended up not being able to pay the mortgage in the end, so the mortgage company went after him, and then the federal government stepped in and did him with a whole bunch of other people. So it was the federal government that came after him, no one else did. There wasn't any complaint against him or anything. It was just the federal government did it.
Yeah, and basically it's the federal bankers, okay? And there again, nobody was really harmed in the process. All he has to do is basically order the set-off of that against his account. And he can do that by a money order, and basically there is, down here in the States, I don't know how it is up there in Canada, but basically it should have been the same way up there, pretty much on continental America, was that this was never supposed to be set up as a debtor's prison like Australia was initially set up as a debtor's prison, or Louisiana, down there around New Orleans, was a debtor prison coming out of France.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, see, they tried to write this into the laws, especially here in America, that basically there was never to be a debtor's prison. And 99% of the people that are in prison are in there on debts, charges that they don't know how to set off.
Actually, they're not in prison. They're in a safety deposit box while the bond flows around through commerce because, they can't have you die, so they're going to put you there. They're going to protect you.
Yeah.
So you're in a safety deposit box is what you're in, not a jail.
Yeah, and then they're charging you all the time, too. One guy got out of prison, and the Attorney General's office turned around and gave him a bill for $250,000. The guy turned around and said, "But I'm insolvent." The Attorney General's office said, "That's all I wanted to hear." Charges dismissed. They weren't dismissed. They were basically taken out of his account. But the Attorney General just needed to have that authorization to go and take it out of his account. He didn't know that basically they were taking it out, but they did. See, a lot of this you have to read between the lines in what has been going on. And I've been a little negligent in seeing some of this as quick as I should have seen it out here. I've been in the court in different things. I've stood them down at different points in time, and then I just didn't quite see how I got back into harm's way. But now I can see how I stepped back into harm's way in some of these items, because we would say that we're the executor. You never want to be the executor. You're the executive officer. You stand over them.
So we have an automatic get out of jail card by just saying I'm insolvent?
No, you don't necessarily have that, okay? You are the executive officer. You order a veto of a charge.
Oh, okay.
The charge does not apply to an American executive officer. How can an administrative organization that is under the executive officer ever write a law or a charge unless services have been rendered against the executive office? The only charge that they could ever bring against you is basically that of treason. And I don't think there's too many people out here being charged with treason. So it's all monetary charges is what they're after. And you have the right to order to veto that bill or that charge or that claim, and then you do a countermand against it, a counter order, and say set it off from what you owe back to the account. I've got one here from the damn Medicare. They're claiming $314.70. I'm going to do a executive veto of that bill. I thought about doing a money order against it, but it's fraud. Okay? So I'm going to do a veto, and then basically on the back I'm going to do a countermand and say set it off from the funds that you owe back to the Treasury. Mr. Medicare Insurance Company, because you're borrowing the damn money from the Treasury to begin with. All these damn stinking insurance companies are fraudulent from the word go. Okay, any questions on doing a bill or a charge or a claim? Whether it be a court, whether it be a utility company, whether it be a traffic ticket, whatever. They're all to be handled the same way. If you're over 25, you are an American executive, and if you have a mailing address, you are a postmaster. That is your office, your executive office, as a postmaster. And like I said, they all out there are administrative postmasters. Even that bank has an address. So the bank president is an administrative postmaster of that bank. The Secretary of the Treasury is basically an administrative postmaster of the Treasury. And he's nothing but a secretary anyway. And you're the executor or executive office holder over him.
Hey, Patrick, in this process with the postmaster, I've saved up a lot of gas receipts. How do you propose I, as a shareholder executive, gain that reimbursement back?
What reimbursement?
My gas receipts, the money I spent for the gas that I've been a shareholder of.
Okay. Basically, you're going to get that back by doing a 1099 OID. And you should have your 98 series number. That would be what we would be able to use when we go in to claim that back. And that's a foreign grantor trust. But it's an American executive foreign grantor trust.
So the IRS is going to be our executors on the private side. They'll do the hanging for us.
Yeah, and see, basically you paid out with real, and you are claiming back your discount. Let me stop for a second here, okay? I don't know how many of you people have ever been in a casino, but basically that's what we're in. We're in the biggest casino in the world, okay? You have lawful money. You have your sweat equity, you might call it, lawful exchangement. Even if you do this money order, you have lawful money coming out of your savings account because it's been cleaned up when it was deposited into the savings account. So it's real money. It's real substance. Well, when you go into a casino like out in Vegas or any of these other casinos, you take your money out of your back pocket and you buy tokens or you buy chips. It all depends on which game you're playing. Now, most of the bankers out here are playing the slot machines because that's where the biggest money is derived from. They use tokens, okay, or Federal Reserve dollars. Now, you go over to the other blackjack table, crap table, baccarat table, all these others over there, you use chips over there. And that's where you could use your money order over there, in a way, postal money orders. Okay, is what they gave you at the cashier's cage. So you're using those over there. The bankers are over there using the Federal Reserve dollars as tokens in this casino. And then they basically try and wear you down and siphon as much as they can out of you. I know this from a fact because I used to frequent them all the time. I'd be up and I'd be down. And basically, I got one hell of a learning from it. But that's all that this is. You have to be able to know when to walk away. You have to know when a table gets hot and you jump in. Okay? And then when something happens, you have to know, okay, time to go. Take advantage of their damn things that they try and buy you off with. Hell, I've been in suites, $1,000 suite, sleeping in the room for the night. Because they wanted to keep me there. Yeah, I'd fly into town, basically, having no room or anything like that. I'd start getting hot at the crap table or something like that, and basically I'd start getting tired. I need a room, and basically they'd go and get me one.
Shit, it's not working.
They'll feed you. They'll comfort you in any way they possible to keep you in their game. And that's all that this is. It's a game. You just have to start understanding the rules of the game. And see, what we have out here is everything is compartmentalized. The dealers at the blackjack table don't know the rules at the crap table. The dealers at the crap table don't know the rules at the baccarat table. And the slot machines over there, basically they're on their own, and that's the bankers over there, and they're just dinging away. Cling, cling, cling. How much can we siphon off the people today? And see, the bankers don't even know that they're under these postal treaties and statutory postal money order contracts of law. And see, even our money order is a U.S. money order. It's not a postal money order in their system, administrative money order. It is an executive money order. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have to rename the file. I named it Executive Postal Money Order. I'll change that.
Yeah, just take off postal, but basically it's really a executive money order. It's a real money order, but it still falls under the postal treaties and the U.S. statutory contracts in law that were addressing money orders, but they never really stipulated whether it was a postal money order or whether it was an executive money order. Even in their definitions, they don't address that. And they don't address the administrative postmaster or the executive postmaster. But all their laws, statutory laws, only apply to the administrative postmasters. They really don't apply to the executive postmaster. And like I said, if you run into any problem with these guys, you file a complaint of harm with the general that their employees or their soldiers are not complying. Make them do 20 push-ups.
That'd be a tort claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you basically are going to now assign the Comptroller General or the Attorney General or the Postmaster General as the executor for that charge that you're going to bring. They're going to be the executor to adjudicate it. And see, as an executive officer, you have the authority to assign somebody below you to do something. They never thought we'd get to this point of understanding this. The Treasury routing number on your money orders is your Social Security account. It's not the EIN. That Social Security account was given to us for one reason and one reason only, to be a routing number, nothing else. It's just a routing number, okay? It's a Treasury routing number. And basically, when you look up for the Federal Reserve banks, they're tied into the Treasury Department. They normally have 2 dashes in them. So you can either leave the 2 dashes in or take them out. It still would not make any difference. It's still just 9 digits. One gives the appearance of something different. Now, the executive US Treasury account, you have several different items that could go there. You have, if you have your passport, that is your passport number. That's your passbook savings account number. That's why they said that that passport had value. It does, because it's got your account, your postal savings account sitting there. Postal passbook savings account or passbook savings account, however you want to look at it. See, when you registered with the certificate of live birth, you were basically assigning over your inheritance and your right to national endowments or payments that would be coming due for your lifetime. And they're being deposited into this passbook savings account. You need to keep that certificate, but basically you can liquidate against it for present value. And then you will have that certificate transferred over to your executive U.S. checking account, non-interest bearing checking account in the Treasury. And you will get a new number at that point in time for that executive U.S. Treasury checking account.
And is that per the non-citizen?
What?
Is that per the non-citizen national passport?
No. That is, forget that non-citizen national. You're still as a in the postal world, okay? Whether you are a U.S. citizen or a non-citizen national, you're still in their postal world. And basically you're still going to be under that blue passport, which is a communist passport of control over you, to where they claim ownership of everything and give you peanuts. No, the new account number will be issued as a executive passport. Okay, or a special ambassador or whatever passport. It will be a completely different color. And it should not be the same color that basically the American ambassadors use. You should have a higher color than even the president gets, because he's just a corporate employee.
What color do you think it would be? Green?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If you get your stuff going, you might be the first one in the door. Tell me what color it is.
Okay, well,
okay?
You asked.
That's the challenge for you. You find out the color.
Okay.
To find out the color, you're going to have to get out of the system.
Right.
Now, one of the other documents I put up there was a template that I've been working on to basically process this through the Postmaster General, like for the passport, that you could use it for your certificate of live birth, but you do not want to totally discharge that. You will transfer that certificate. If you have a DD-214, you will claim all the value that basically should be entitled to you up to this point in time, and then transfer the certificate over to your executive U.S. checking account, non-interest bearing.
Patrick.
Yes.
I want to find out something, okay? All right. I with this money order, if then using the birth certificate, we'll put.
No, you don't do anything with the birth certificate with the money order.
Okay.
Okay. You use either as the executive U.S. Treasury account. You either use your passport number or the number on the back of your Social Security card, which is a letter and 8 digits. Or if you have a passbook card or passport card, it also has a letter and 8 digits. Those are lifeboats accounts, and they all attach to the mothership, which is the passport number, the savings account number, and the lifeboat can always go back to the mothership and draw supplies when it needs them.
Okay.
Now, think about this in sort of nautical terms, because basically a lot of this is under shipping, but it's shipping not only on the oceans, but also upon the land.
It's actually how a lot of those alien movies are set up, like War of the Worlds and like Independence Day, where they have the main mothership, which is in charge of all these other warships, alien warships.
Right. And so when you kill off the mothership, basically, then they all die. And see, that's what we're going to do if you've got a passport, and also if you don't have a passport, you can still basically go in and adjudicate that, or have the Postmaster General bring that to closure just by the usage of the certificate of live birth. Because the certificate of live birth was the registering certificate that set up that postal savings account. The mothership.
So Pat, like as far as the DS 5504 form is concerned regarding the non-citizen national, you're suggesting not to submit that form?
Forget it. Okay? Here's the deal on that. Anytime we go and get a new passport, we're getting a new savings account, passbook savings account. Now, all funds now are being deposited into that new savings account. I have a funny feeling that basically the other one is still sitting there, but there's no input or output out of that account. Now, if it lays dormant for 10 years, then they can come in and claim it as abandoned property. How do you think these guys are getting rich out here?
Well, let me make another point, Pat. On our Social Security cards, I've gotten 3 of them to see what goes on. On the back of that Social Security card, none of the numbers is the same. They're all different.
Right. And see, you've got a new lifeboat, and now after 10 years, that lifeboat has laid idle. So if there's any funds in that lifeboat when you got the new one, they're going to claim that old lifeboat as abandoned property.
So then our status as far as being a non-citizen national versus a U.S. citizen, what's your comments on that?
It doesn't make any difference. You're still fucked. Okay? Put it bluntly. Okay? I will get blunt at various times here, and that is what it is.
That's fine.
Okay? You're still getting a blue passport, a communist passport. Blue is the color of communism or Babylonianism.
So Patrick.
Yeah.
Since I sent in my 5504 with my unexpired, my up-to-date passport, do you think they'll send it back, or do we have to reject it?
They may or they may not. But even if you do get a new account number, you will just go to the Postmaster General and shut both of those accounts down because it's not been over 10 years.
Right. Now I'm looking at my expired passport that I have, and you said that they have 10 years, and then they can go in and claim it. Why can't I?
No. See, mine expired in '95. But it expired, but it is still there. I could still use that as identification in a lot of places because it's still active, because it's still got deposits going into it. As long as there's something going in on one side or the other, that account remains open.
Oh, because you didn't get an updated one, so that's...
Yeah, because I haven't got a new one. That's why I put a stop the other day. I was going to send the DS11. They wanted to they sent my stuff back, and they said I needed to do a DS-11. So I thought, well, okay, I'll do a DS-11, go back after it. I said, wait a minute, something's amiss here. And I got thinking about it, and I said, yeah, now I can see what the hell they're doing. They want you to have a completely new passport number in the process so that basically then you can abandon the other one.
Maybe that's what they're doing with you every 10 years, you know.
But see, since this is all done under fraud, there is no statute of limitation of fraud. You can always put a claim or a charge in against that with your executor, your assigned executor, the Postmaster General, and say, I want all of those assets back. It was under fraud.
Now, Patrick, you say that the account number is your Social Security number, and the routing number is your Social Security, and the account is your passport number. Now,
the routing number is your Social Security,
right,
and the account number is either your passport number or the number on the back of your Social Security card.
Oh, okay. Now, the letter corresponds with one of the federal banks.
You don't worry about that. You just put the letter down and the 8 digits, okay? That's the whole number for a lifeboat.
Now, the letter corresponds with a specific bank. Do we have to mail, like mine is G?
No, you don't have to do anything.
Just mail it to the
you
regular
just put
bank.
it down on this money order. The routing number will get it to the right place.
Even though we mail it into that specific place in Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. Okay.
No, when you go to the post office, basically, you're going to go into the post office and give the post office, the administrative postmaster, a request for tokens or chips. You want them to exchange your money order for postal money orders. You can do 10,000 a day.
Oh.
The fee is up to $500. You have to pay a fee of $1.25.
Right. There's a fee.
And from 500 on, or from over 500 up to 1,000, it's $1.65 per money order. So when you make out when you make out your money order, you add those fees into it. When you give, and I strongly recommend that you, when you send any of these things out, you do a certificate of mailing. That way you've got confirmation that it was mailed, and everything operates by the mail.
I just put the tracking number on the inside.
And you put down your postal money order as the tracking number. You write that above, certificate of mailing, and then on your envelope on the lower right-hand side, you write certificate of mailing, and then put number, the same number that you put on that certificate of mailing.
Yeah.
And see, this is just a registered document. This is not a trademark document. The certificate or the certified mailing and the registered mailing are trademarked.
I just want to send in a money order and see how it works. I'm just going to follow the format you said, and I'll send it into the Department of Treasury, the one that you have in the money order.
Yeah, and you send it into Lou's office. You assign it to the postmaster of the Treasury.
Yeah, Secretary of the Treasury, it says here on the little box. Now, and then what is the last page you have? You have the notice, and then you have the cost. What goes in there?
That document is when you are going to close your account out. Read document, okay?
Yeah, I didn't read it.
You should get the understanding of what I'm saying when you read that document. I'm sending that, and I'm assigning the Postmaster General as being the executor to adjudicate or to bring the axe down on that account.
Okay.
To chop his head off.
You can have several accounts, like you said.
Now, at the state level, if you have state certificates, you will go to the Postmaster General of the state. And the Postmaster General of the state is your governor. Up in Canada, it would be the governor of the province. He's the Postmaster General of any province certificate. In England, I don't know how they're set up over there, so you guys are on your own over there.
Yeah, Patrick, can I go back to the passport issue briefly? My situation is I do have a 2002 expired one, which is more than 10 years ago. I did renew the passport in 2004, but I can't find that. Is there any way I can go back and reclaim that old more than 10-year account?
Yes, that's what I said.
Just
you
start
can
using
always
it?
go back, and if it's over 10 years, and basically that somebody might have come in and claimed that as abandoned property, it was done under fraud.
Okay. So I should...
And basically you would put that claim in to the Postmaster General.
Okay. So I can reclaim it by starting the process by just using it.
No. Somebody may have picked it up. You have to go, if it's over 10 years old, okay,
yes.
You're going to have to go to the Postmaster General and probably do something, especially since you got a new passport. And basically, the other one is over 10 years old now. So basically, they moved everything over to the other.
Okay.
Now, you've got to find out what that other passport number is.
Yes, and on the State Department site, there's good instructions on how to get a copy of those.
So you go and find that other number, too.
Right.
And then you put both of those in when you go in to shut down these savings accounts that you've got out there, to get out of their system.
Okay.
Or just have them shut down all the accounts attached to that main Social Security number. Let them close them down.
Well, it's not the Social Security number that necessarily is the key thing. It's the certificate of live birth. The Social Security number is just a routing number to be able to go back to the Treasury. The Social Security has no money in it, and they've told us that for years. It's just a routing number. The accounts are the number on the back of the Social Security card or the postal savings account number, which you were supposed to have claimed by getting a passport, a passbook savings account. Look at your passport. Really, look at it. Open it up. And basically look where it says Visa. Okay? It's got entry and it's got departure. Well, what do you do when you go to the bank for a passbook savings account? You make a deposit, an entry, and you verify that so it gets stamped. Or you basically make the entry and you're doing a concurrence that, yes, I see it, that it's deposited. And then you go over to the other side and you want to exit or withdraw, and that is a departure. So the money is departing that passbook savings account. And you check and make sure that the money was withdrawn. and then you would certify that. See, people think that passbook or passport is just for going into a damn foreign country. No, it was your passbook savings account book, too. You just didn't know it. They didn't tell you, so you didn't know it.
They didn't want us to know it.
Well, only for the people that have eyes to see and ears to whatever.
Here.
They give you a checkbook. You go to open it.
We lost you, correct?
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said they give you like when you go to open up a checking account, they give you a checkbook to go along with that.
Yeah, and same thing with when you open up a savings account. They used to have passbook savings accounts at the banks.
Mm-hmm.
And you would hand the book over to them. You would pass the book over to them to make the deposit entry and the departure withdrawal. Didn't you?
Yeah.
They used to have at the post office. They used to have postal savings account at the post office. And you would have your little postal savings account passbook. But they shut that down.
Just to clarify, the information you brought tonight, the whole non-citizen national status that we were going after is irrelevant right now because it's still within the same communist system, passport system.
Right. Yeah, and basically it's a means to get you to get another passbook savings account. And then since you wouldn't know this, then you would abandon it. It would be abandoned after 10 years.
But
see,
if you were
the guy that basically put this information out, where is he?
I have no idea.
Roger, he is down in Australia. And he's still in the system. He's still getting Social Security. So even though he's got a non-national passport, he is getting Social Security. So he's still in the system. Somebody's got a mic open or something that's got feedback.
Yeah, they just muted on.
Okay.
He's in Argentina, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if he would turn around and liquidate that previous passbook account, that should shut that down, right?
Yeah, and then basically if he shuts that, when we shut this postal passbook savings account down, okay, this Treasury savings account, or whatever you want to call it, when we shut this down and bring it into execution, liquidation, and discharge, and then we can resurrect, and see, we will resurrect the good thief over on the other side, okay? You've got the bad thief, which basically is the Treasury or the Social Security routing side. That is the bad thief that was hanging on the cross with Jesus. Okay? Then you had the good thief on the other side, which is the certificate of live birth that everybody thinks is bad. But basically it gives you your right to your entitlements, but they were being deposited into the savings account instead of over into a non-interest-bearing checking account with the Treasury. And see,
we don't have that yet, correct?
Yeah, you don't have that yet until you terminate the savings account. And then you will move your certificate of live birth, the good thief, over to there. And basically, what did Jesus say to the good thief that was hanging on the cross? I will see you in heaven.
Yes.
Yeah. This same system is thousands of years old, and it's even older than that. And like on the money order that I put out there today, I put an item on there that basically says, my flag of independence, and I owe an allegiance to no other. The snake that says, don't tread on me. And I'd really like to have seen the word FWCK put in front of tread on me. Okay? But that goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. When the snake was cast out of the tree, he was standing over Adam and Eve. He was cast down to the ground to be under the feet of Adam and Eve. And so what did he do? He found a hole and went in it so he didn't get stepped on. But the little shits keep popping their head up. And it's what you got to do is look at the kids' game to where that little monkey or whatever on the little board keeps popping his head up, or one of those games that you go into the arcade and you take the hammer and try and drive him back down the hole. See, they tell us in these damn kids' games a lot of this stuff. You just keep that hammer swinging and keep driving them down. I ain't letting you
I
up.
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so some people get passports and some people don't, and there's a savings account somewhere. So is there an account number before you get the passport? Or is the certificate of live birth?
When you go to the Postmaster General with your certificate of live birth and do a crucifixion of that certificate, you will basically shut it down for all the value that's attached under that certificate. You don't need to know what the savings account number is.
No, I'm just wondering about someone that never gets a passport, and then that would be their passport.
That's the person that never gets a passport. They use their certificate of live birth.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Pat, I'm going to ask you something. All right, I'm looking at this thing that you got on here. Noticed the U.S. Administrative Postmaster General. In other words, put that on the back of the certificate of live birth.
No, I would just take a JPG of that certificate of live birth for right now and put that into them and say in your cover letter that you will hand over the original when they come and see you.
Okay.
You will sign it over at that point in time.
Okay.
You're just notifying them that you are making them the executor of this, and that now they have to come and see you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the executor. Basically, you come and see me. I don't want to come and see you.
Okay.
See how realistic this is? And then they're going to come and see you anyway, because basically you're going to blow them out of the water that you understand this. So you better be prepared, because there is an amount of money there that basically you can cause harm to them. You can cause harm to yourself, too. And that's what too many people do, is basically they turn around and they destroy themselves because they don't know how to properly utilize things.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
On your live birth certificate, all I was able to get was a certificate, and I didn't get the weight wasn't on there and all that stuff.
You've asked this question I don't know how many times before, and I've told you the same thing. Whatever document you got, okay, you use that.
For the live okay.
That is the certificate of live birth, okay? That is the registration document that set up this savings account.
Okay, that's. I just wondered if there was another kind of birth certificate to just write to them and tell them you wanted it, but they don't issue those out anymore, I guess.
You're not going to get the hospital birth certificate. That's a one-time issue. If you didn't take it when you left the hospital, you're not going to get it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I have a life phone number on the back of my certificate of live birth.
You got well, there may be. And see, but basically, also, those numbers have, they are basically there as a serial number to prevent counterfeiting.
Right.
Okay? That's what the red number on the front in most cases is. But it could be on the back. I don't know how your state operates. But see, all of those printings, they have to account for those, okay? Just like in a lot of cases with the Social Security cards. There's something in those cards that basically they try and utilize as preventing counterfeiting. Yet there's quite a few people out there counterfeiting Social Security cards and everything else.
So on this money order, the new one that you put out, Patrick, pretty much if we don't have the passport down at the last part with the notice and the crucifixion, we could put our birth certificate there.
No. That does not go with the money order.
Okay.
That is a completely separate item. That is when you're going to close down the account. The postal money order is just 2 pages, a front and a back. Okay? The other item basically is a completely separate item. I don't know how Tom posted that up there, but it is when you, and I just sent that to him to basically get people to start thinking about how they shut down a certificate or a document.
That could be used for a title, a motor vehicle, or driver's license, any of that.
Yeah, and say like a state certificate, you basically do this, and you send it to, you do a cover letter assigning the Postmaster General of the state, which is going to be the governor of the state, as being the executor to basically bring that to closure.
I'll split the documents and rename them.
Okay.
But you said, real quick, you said the Postmaster of the state is the governor of the state?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Postmaster General is the governor of the state. The state Postmaster General.
Okay. And so that would be how then you would go ahead and apply that the process that you're explaining with getting a junk car just to get the certificate of title and to go ahead and liquidate that.
Yeah, you would send that into value. Yeah, and basically you would send that into the state Postmaster General because he's over those state certificates. They're all these certificates are postal certificates. Okay? You're in the casino, so they're a postal certificate.
Can I ask you a question?
you want the $200 off of this certificate that they gave you at the door. So you go to the cashier's cage, who is the Postmaster General, and you cash it in. See, this is all a casino game. That's why they use the word wages, because it's a wager. Okay, who is wanting to ask a question?
I wanted to ask a question.
I was, if you send that to the governor.
Wait, listen to, see, there was somebody else, okay, before you started talking. Okay, one at a time.
I'm curious if anyone has gotten a DOT license.
No, we don't need a DOT license. You're getting right back into their system. We're going to get out as an executive officer. Okay?
Someone's building up a lot of noise there. They've got a kid in the background.
Please mute out, okay?
Up.
Or take your mic away or something, basically. Yeah. Please mute out if you're not talking, okay?
Yeah, and especially if a kid in the background, please.
Okay, does the president have a license number on his vehicle?
I would say yes.
No.
No?
Nope.
Maybe.
Nope. He's got a seal on his license plate.
Ah.
He's got the executive office seal.
I think that's the same also for the post office transport vehicles.
In some regards, but they're administrative, so basically they're under a lower level. But even the Air Force One, okay, what's it got? It's got the presidential executive seal on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can look at these movies and they show you a lot of this stuff. And so when you get out and basically out of the system and see, you need to do an affidavit. And you need to claim that flag, that snake that says, "Don't tread on me," as your flag. That is the flag of independence here in America. Well, it should be worldwide because, like I said, that flag originated back with Adam and Eve. And then you do an affidavit to where you purge yourself of all other allegiance to both flags and to any other foreign country. Stay away from that red, white, and blue. That one goes all the way back to some of the original charter companies that were coming out of England to set up their trading houses here in America. And anytime you swear an allegiance to the flag, whether it be in Canada, whether it be anywhere else, that flag is for the corporation. And basically, in most cases, these are copyrighted for-profit corporations in a foreign jurisdiction. And that's what the United States for-profit corporation is chartered out of England. copyrighted out of England, but it's chartered here in America. And basically it is, let's see, we've got 3 levels of government that we've gone through. The original non-for-profit government, then about in 1871, we got the for-profit copyrighted, English copyrighted government. And then in 1930, we got this communist, socialist, utopian form of government that basically took control of all our assets that were of the people that were registered, and basically gave a oath to a flag, to a corporation flag, a foreign flag.
Yeah, can I ask that question now?
Okay.
Yeah, the question was, when you send a letter to the governor, and I live in another state, not the state I was born in, does it have to go to the original governor of the state that you were born in, or could you use any state that you are living in now?
You need to go to the state to where the certificate was issued.
Okay. That would be my intent.
Primarily, this is not for the certificate of live birth. The certificate of live birth goes to the Postmaster General.
Well, when I say live birth, I only...
Postmaster General.
Oh, okay.
Only state items that basically are like your driver's license, your certificate of title to your vehicle, your certificate of title to your house, whether it's a certificate or whether it's some other means that you have to identify that you're the owner of that house. You surrender that item to the state Postmaster General, who is the governor, and you assign him to be the executor of that document.
Oh, I see. Okay. And the birth certificate is to the Postmaster General.
We're going to send that to the Postmaster General because basically that is also set up that postal savings account, and that's really to do that, and it was to assign. So it really was issued out by the state, but it went and it took around 90 days before it was processed. And if you basically had coming out of the hospital, it took 90 days. So it had to go out to the Treasury or out to D.C. And see, all the states are basically tied to that main company in D.C., that main corporation. So some of these documents are tied to the main corporation, but some of them are tied strictly to the state.
Yeah, I understand that now. You just made it clarify. But the guy that you'll go to in D.C., that's the de jure governor, de jure postmaster, right?
The Postmaster General. Postmaster General.
What's his name? I can't remember now. It's
Donahue.
Donahue. Okay.
Patrick Donahue. Okay.
Patrick.
But you would also come in and basically, I would send a notification also to the president and make him a co-executor.
Wow.
Oh, no worries. I'm not.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good plan.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Do you have someone
Cover
talking
all
in the
bases.
background, Don?
Oh, yeah, that's, but I'm going to mute here.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, complaints, bitches, whatever?
Hi, it's Christopher again.
Yeah.
Earlier you asked about whether anyone has any tickets, situations, or whatever. And again, if this is an answer that makes that means that I go back to studying, then apologize for that. But I've got these situations that are numerous. I've got 5 court cases which are open in America, and I was deported from Illinois to England on a out of expired OMB number on an I-94. And I'm just wondering.
You're talking about documents I have no idea about. Go ahead.
So with the court cases, I'm just wondering what I do with them, considering that I'm kind of in limbo with my status.
Well, did you have naturalization here in America?
No, I did not. I was in America with an expired visa waiver.
Okay. Did you have a Social Security account?
No. Although they kind of faked one on one of my cases. They actually used my telephone number on my...
Then basically, the charges are basically fraudulent. They were trying to charge a foreigner with United States statutory laws.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't have a driving license from America either. I had an expired Canadian license. It was expired in 2005, and I was driving all the way up until 2010 on it.
Okay. You're still an English citizen, right?
I am, yes.
Okay.
And stupidly, I gave them my...
You go to your English consulate or whatever, and basically you assign them to be the executor to adjudicate those items.
Okay.
Yeah, from your English inheritance.
So I have to get my English inheritance sorted out.
Yeah, you basically should have had a certificate of live birth over there too. So basically, you could surrender that and over to them for the adjudication of these items over here.
Okay.
I would also address that basically you were never fully under the laws over here, and that they need to be removed from the books, and that basically the English consulate is going to have to come over here and order those to be removed from the books over here in this country. Does that make sense? That's what I do. Anybody there?
Yeah, I'm here, Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Pat.
Yeah, well, did that answer your guy's question in England? Well, we might have dropped England.
So if we were to go ahead and still continue with the process of acquiring a non-citizen national passport.
No, you stop right now, okay? You don't want it. It's not going to accomplish anything for you, so forget it. I was wrong to even bring that up. It sounded right, but then the more after I got mine back from them, and then I got to seeing how they play this sleazeball game that they're playing, okay? Even if you don't have a passport, you can still utilize your certificate of live birth to claim that savings account.
Right.
If you do have a passport that is now expired, or even a present one, okay, you have the passbook savings account number right there. You can start utilizing that with your money orders. or you can use the number on the back of your Social Security card. Either way. But don't do anything more with the passport.
So for me, I had acquired another Social Security card, and like the gentleman mentioned earlier, the number on the back is a completely different number.
Yes, it's a different lifeboat number. So basically,
yes.
You're going to want to put a claim in for both of those lifeboat numbers because there would have been cargo put in those lifeboats.
Right. So I could then utilize that crucifixion notice in doing so, and have that sent to the Postmaster General.
You would basically take a JPG of your Social Security card and put it in that square behind her. You can move that around. You can put it on one sheet or whatever. I just made that sort of as an example.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Would I address the Postmaster General at the Social Security Administration or the Postmaster General of the United States?
Is there more than one Postmaster General in the United States? No. The answer is no. There's only one Postmaster General for the USA. Now, the states all have a Postmaster General, but there's only one Postmaster General for the administrative offices of the United States, and that is Donahue. You don't send it to the Postmaster of these other departments.
Okay, that's what I was,
Okay? You're going to send it to the Postmaster General and let him take care of it. He will pass it down to the other postmasters that are under his jurisdiction, because all those other postmasters are in his postmaster army.
Gotcha.
Okay? You always go to the general and see, you are the Caesar. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. As the executive office, executive officer, postmaster, you are the Caesar. You seize your stuff.
That's pretty good.
See where the word seizure comes in? Okay? Jesus said that. Give it to me. It's mine. Give to Caesar what is Caesar. I'm the Caesar. And the Caesar always stands over the generals. Didn't Julius stand over the generals?
Yes.
Because he was the master over them. And then along came Brutus, the bankers, and basically stabbed him to death. And see, that's what the bankers have been trying to do to us. The Brutuses have been trying to come and stab us to death. But basically, they haven't found our heart yet, so we're still ticking. I'm not trying to be too hard on you, really, okay? I'm just trying to wake you up. Make sure you've got life left in you so that you can go out there and have the desire and the drive to make this happen. I'm trying to show you that this has to be with passion to make this happen. You can't be wishy-washy about this, because if you're wishy-washy, they will throw you out with the wash water.
So, Patrick, the OIDs we did a few months back, that still stands correct?
Well, we will, on the new ones, we will be basically using the 98 number, but we will be coming in a different capacity. So we may still be getting something out of those OIDs. It's hard to say. But see, we were really putting down the postal number in the item instead of basically utilizing the 98 series number. I thought it was the postal number. And see, then we also should have been using the account number down below to where they were drawing the funds from.
Okay, because I'm looking at the 1096 that you sent in with that, and we have the
I just hold off on those for right now. Okay, we'll get into that. Let's just concentrate on getting out of the system first. Okay, when you get out of the system, basically we will get more than we know, and then when we go into the other side and start paying out, then we can turn around and put our claim in for all these bills that basically we paid out of our back pocket. But let's get out of the system first, okay?
All right, but the money order is probably good to do as we're getting out of the system.
You got enough to do right here,
Yeah, too much.
Yeah, too much, really. Yeah. I mean, that's been one of the problems. I've got papers all over my damn place here of trying to probably do too much at one time.
Yep, and you got a few of us following you. We got papers all over.
Yeah. But I've learned something from everything that I've gotten back from.
Just adding more knowledge to what we're doing, more we learn.
Yeah. And then see, we could turn around and on the $300 penalty envelopes, we send those to the Postmaster General and split the profits on that $300 penalty. We do an executive order and veto the penalty. And then basically we split the penalty with the executive officer or the executor, the Postmaster General. Half goes to the de jure government, and then the other half comes back to us. You will find
like
that in that chapter 335. Basically, everybody should read that chapter 335 at least a couple times over, because it covers penalties, it covers the responsibilities of all these postmasters. And see, even those bankers are a postmaster. They just don't realize it. And basically, one of the guys, basically, they tried to close down his account. He could end up owning that damn bank. But he needs to go to the comptroller of the currency and file a charge against them also. And always try and wake up your sheriff, especially now with these money orders. And about flag, how basically they've gotten themselves into trouble swearing allegiance to a false flag.
And what chapter was that again?
It's volume 17 of the Statutes at Large, and it's chapter 335, and it's identified right on the money order there. It says, Act of June 8, 1972, Chapter 335, provided for the establishment of the money order system in of the United States.
And the entire act is posted on the Yahoo group.
Yeah.
All 48 pages.
Okay. can go through the other ones, especially in 1920s or 1910 all the way up to the 1940s or 50s, and do a search on money orders or money dash orders and see what you come up with. Because basically they made some modifications in those time frames also out there. And see, they never really addressed whether these were purely postal money orders or whether they were executive money orders. I mean, administrative money orders or executive money orders.
Do you think it would be possible to ask maybe a local postmaster to make a money order to your preference, or?
No. You're going to have to force their hands to basically take this executive money order. And that's why you should always mail it to them using a certificate of mailing. Then you can take that certificate of mailing and that money order and file it in with the Postmaster General. When the postmasters do not comply with the law, you turn to the general. When one of the soldiers steps out of line, you go to the head guy, and he will basically tell them to do 25 push-ups or whatever.
Someone just
Someone's
opened
got
up.
feedback.
Yeah, someone just opened up their mic, and we're getting a whole lot of feedback from their speakers.
Yeah, it explains that in, like, just real quick in the definition of post office, where it says that the Postmaster General, deputy postmasters, and their assistants and clerks who are appointed and sworn as required by law are public officials, and each is answerable for his own negligence only, and it's a C tort.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm sure we'll develop more questions as we work away at what you gave us today, Patrick.
I have a question.
Okay.
As you know, this is as they call tax season, and I'm working on, well, I've been working on trying to figure out how to correctly put together 1099 OID for the withholdings my employer held from my checks. How would you advise that I go about that in light of this information at hand?
Well, I would go after the big money first, okay? You're going after peanuts, okay? You get this out, and basically, this is the most important thing in your life, is to get your inheritance, to get it into the proper respect, and then basically get your proper identification out here. Because
I agree with
let me tell you right now, they're getting ready to pull the plug. And just because you have a bunch of Federal Reserve notes sticking in your back pocket, that ain't going to save your life. You get out of the system and basically get identified as a American, a postmaster, ambassador under an ambassador or a special ambassador or executive passport, that may just save your life.
Yeah.
And then you'll also have access to a lot more funds than you would be getting with that OID. Okay, that's why let's just concentrate on what is the important thing first. Then we will pick up the tiddlywinks later.
I hear you. I was actually going to put in an extension and then just focus on getting this whole process secure so I can come out.
Yeah. Well, basically, in a lot of cases, they want you to concentrate on the IRS forms and everything like that. And basically then they can play their game. And how many people are in jail because of the OIDs? Because the people didn't know how to handle themselves properly. They didn't know the banking system. That is what you have to know first. And you have to get control of your bank accounts.
So, do you think you could please explain it, break it down Barney style for us? Because I'm a little confused as to the whole process of this thing. Right when I think I have a valuable piece of information and I decide I want to move on it, then it suddenly changes, and I feel like instead of treading lightly and trying to do things the right way, I feel like I'm constantly pulling my feet in and out of the fire. So do you think you could, starting from step one, you could break it down?
Yeah.
Please?
Basically, you were born, okay? Then you were fucked. And you've been fucked ever since, okay? Now, you want to stop being
well,
fucked?
process that.
Okay? You stand up and say, I don't want to pledge allegiance to the flag anymore. Okay? That's number one. You do an affidavit that you renounce being a pledged citizen to a false flag, to a corporation flag. Okay? See, they got you in grade school. They got you in grade school to constantly repeat that Pledge of Allegiance, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered.
So what? So affidavit renouncing.
You have to go into the computer and pull up. Do a search for Pledge of Allegiance. You should come up with Wikipedia, and basically it will show you all the different pledges that basically the socialist utopian guy, preacher or whatever, he was the one that wrote this damn Pledge of Allegiance. Socialist, utopian, okay? Basically a communist.
Okay, so
and basically it got you to basically pledge allegiance to two things, to the republic and to a flag, a corporation flag. Now you had dual allegiance, you lost your nationality. So now you have to do a purge, just like in the movie Majestic. You have to purge yourself of all these false items.
So
you have the right to be a communist if you want to, but I would purge myself of it. Because I want my nationality back. Someone's got their mic open. Or basically the speakers and mic too close to one another, something.
Patrick, what about the international court?
No. No, that's not going to work, okay? We go to the Postmaster General.
Can we continue the step-by-step Barney style?
There is no real easy step-by-step, okay? You almost have to listen to the audios and see what I've been doing, okay?
Well, I have, and it feels like you directed.
Yes, I know there's a lot of information. You have to take the time to analyze that information that basically we put out there. Listen to those 3 audios this last weekend about the money orders. Okay? And then basically I'll try and do another follow-up Saturday and Sunday on coming out of a system using these other items, but you need to try and get an understanding of how to operate your account using the money orders. And I tried to address that earlier there of some of the changes. Okay? But if you haven't been following them, just look at the latest money order and try and read and understand what it's saying. I tried to make it as detailed so that even the bankers would understand it. But some of them don't even understand it because they don't know that they're under these postal statutory laws and treaties.
But as far as setting ourselves up to utilize these money orders to protect ourselves and...
You are already set up. You have a bank routing number or a treasury routing number. That's your Social Security number. You have the account number, the number on the back of a Social Security card or a passport number. You should have one or the other of those items.
You also have a post office.
At the state level, you also have all your certificates of title. You can surrender those to the governor and claim all of that value back.
So whatever happened to getting the estate number and all that stuff?
If you've got the estate number, you should have it, okay? If you don't have it, then basically your everything is not under the estate number. But basically that is just a cover-all that basically you have already in the process put this over to an estate, and it's an executive estate now that you can basically terminate these things on an individual basis.
So on what priority level does that have? Getting and establishing the EIN and killing?
I don't know what to say. Okay, I'm just sort of burned out on this whole thing. Okay, I've tried to talk for years out here. Okay, and too many of you people basically want to go from one rabbit hole to the other and go over and get the false information, and then basically find out that the false information don't work, and you come back here and want me to hand everything to you. I put all the damn forms and everything up on the site. Okay? I've done 99% of the damn legwork for you people. Okay? It's about time you read the damn documents and understand them. Okay?
Well, you just admitted that some of them were wrong.
But you find out what they're wrong, okay? I've tried to update them when I find that they're wrong, okay?
And that's what I mean by setting us trying to figure out where we're headed.
Enough. I'm done. I'm not going to argue with you anymore, okay?
Yeah, basically,
you're not hearing what the fuck I'm saying, okay? Don't fucking piss me off.
I'm not trying to piss you off.
Well, you are, okay?
Well, I apologize, but I'm not trying to.
Shut the fuck up and listen. Read the documents, okay? Check out the revisions, okay? I tried to post up corrections when I found out that I was wrong. That's more than I can say for what the fuck you've been doing. Okay?
Well, how can we take the second revision if there's a revision at all?
Well, I guess what you need to look at is the fact that no one has written a manual on any of this. And if you want to determine how you are going to correctly come out, you have to be actively engaged in doing study. And then when you do study, also do application.
Also, things morph a lot, so we can't, it's like things move, so it's always
Well, they
changing.
morph a lot because no one wrote a manual on how to come out of this. Like right now, all of us are fucked.
Yeah, I understand that, but
it's
falling
all,
into the wrong
it's all
rabbit
been
hole,
hidden.
we end up more fucked, and we end up in jail like the whole 1099 OID shit.
No. It's not a land up in jail. You're either going to have a commitment to find out what the truth is, or you're not. It's the fear is what the other side wants you to believe in, and what we're doing is without fear. So when you start getting the correct answer and you find out that the banks don't want to talk to you, then you know that you're onto something.
Marshall, tell your story.
Yeah, come on through, Marshall. You got to tell your side. These people are not having an understanding of what Patrick's doing. And that's the understanding of acting without fear. So if you say, what if, well, you're not doing anything, and you're doing exactly standing on that banana peel just like the banks want you to. So if you're making that decision to stand on the banana peel, go right ahead. There's not a manual for that, but you're not going to find what the banks don't want you to know. And what the banks don't want you to know is what Patrick is out here giving us some direction as to where that without fear thinking is.
Also, I think it's also learning how to read between the lines, because that's a tough one for me.
Well, and it is also, everybody wants a step-by-step, and I'm that way, and there is no step-by-step. And so he's trying to do it, and it drives me a little crazy. There's no step-by-step also. And so you just have to keep going back to who you are and why and what's it all about and what the truth is, and try to stick with that. There is a lot of material, though, and a lot of this stuff has been proven wrong, but we're trying. So just hang in there.
I understand that, but like you said, it is frustrating. I sit down when I think I have the right knowledge and the right understanding, and I sit down, and right before I do it, some new information pops up and says, don't do this, or you're going to go to jail, or don't do this, it's going to...
I have a question for you. Have you seen any fruits of your labor at all? In regards to any of these processes, have you seen anything?
No, I haven't. That's why
All right. Well, it's different. It's a different story when you actually witness that there is an account and things are getting paid for, and then now you stand back and you look at, well, what's the explanation for that? You have an account with your name on it, with your Social Security as being the routing number to that account.
Look, I
got it.
And I have the faith, and I know that it exists.
Well, faith is bullshit. All right, you need knowledge. I'm telling you, the knowledge is there.
If you don't feel like doing something, if you're not ready, then don't do it. If you have some fear about going to jail, then just wait and see what's transpiring, and you can still listen to the group. But wait till you feel more confident.
Yeah, wait until you can buy it at Walmart.
Pardon?
Wait until you can buy it at Walmart with a guarantee.
Wow, I'm not saying that, but sometimes it does take a little bit of more learning, knowledge, like the other guy just said. It's more knowledge.
Well, we're in a battle, and you don't go to a world war already having a step-by-step manual to fight by.
Okay, so can we all agree that we're on the same side and we're all fucked?
Yeah, I agree with
yeah.
y'all. I mean,
okay,
we all.
Why is there so much disrespect going on in this phone call right now?
It's not disrespect, it's frustration because there's a lot of people that aren't really doing, they're getting upset with Patrick about information, but he is, all right, right now everybody is sucking on Patrick's tits for milk. All right, it's time that.
That's a funny analogy.
Most of the people.
The majority of us are reliant upon Patrick's information for advancements.
No, I do diligence.
And I've taken it and I've ran with it. I've figured out my own information from, and I am thankful that he has provided with us for us all of this knowledge. But I don't know.
Do you want a silver bullet? There is no such thing. I've spent 7 years studying this stuff, and I'm only now just getting my head around this. It's not an overnight thing. I've even been talking to a guy this morning, and it annoys me talking to him. Why? Because he is saying but, just the same way you're doing. You know, he's trying to do something, and he's always changing his mind, and it's getting frustrating. You know, if you haven't actually done anything, then do something and see what errors you make, and then learn from that.
And that's the thing, because you get upset with Patrick for the errors that he makes, but you need to make your advancements. It's not a one-man battle.
And that's how Patrick makes his advancements, by understanding the mistakes he makes. They're usually small, but they have a great impact.
Exactly. That's where your learning come in at. The mistakes you make.
You know, this friend of mine is always asking me, what would I do? What do I think he should do? And he's never doing it off his own back. He's never actually filling out a form without any help and sending it in to see what happens. And that pisses me off. And that's what probably Patrick's pissed off about, because all he's hearing from people is, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? And no one seems to have done it themselves, apart from one or two people.
Hey, my advice is 2 years ago, I talked to the Secret Service. I took $1 million check to Bank of America. And you know what they did when I took a birth certificate and my own check? When I was, following and sending stuff in with Patrick, I learned more by sending stuff in. And what happened at the bank? The manager goes, I said, have you ever seen a transaction like this? She goes, yes, what's your number? It's taken me 2 years to figure out what my numbers were.
Did you get your $1 million?
Well, no, I didn't put it in because I didn't have an account. She was gonna put it through collections, and the fear held me back. But then I took one to a car dealership, asked the finance manager, hey, have you ever seen a transaction of this? He goes, yes, but not here. So in 1 week, at a major bank and a major car dealership, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I discovered, yes, they have seen this transaction. So what does that tell me? I'm on the right track. I still had some fear, but I went and showed all my documents to the Secret Service. I showed them, and I sent my Treasury package in. But doing more study, realizing that was debunked. Patrick is right on that. They're not going to, everybody's sending in their Treasury package. They're going to be a secured party creditor. Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to go through stubbing your knees and your toes and having high hopes and realizing, nope, there's a little bit more to this. And just like the gentleman with the English accent, 7 years. Yes, I got about 6 or 7 years straight on this. But I also have more time, maybe from 18 years old, claiming exempt on my taxes, owing, and figuring out how to get around that. And then when they come after you with liens and you owe a lot of money to the IRS, figuring out there's a way around that. When you figure out how to, dodge those things with no information before we had computers, yeah. So right now I'm at the point of looking at what's been going on the last few months, seeing the progress, doing my homework, looking at the forms, evaluating the forms compared to what I did in the past. Just picking up my daughter's certificate for her car. I've had certificates handed to me 2 or 3 times. and having that money in my hand, but not knowing how to process it. The other one was, being close. I was at a car dealership, a used car auction, and I was asking one of the guys who's a manager there, and he was bringing in the cars, and I had talked to him earlier in the week. I go there every couple of weeks looking for old cars, and I said to him, "Hey, man, where's the certificates? Why do you issue a new one?" I said, "Aren't those like gold and like birth certificates traded on Wall Street?" And his eyes got big as saucers. He looked at me and goes, how do you know that? You found out the secret. So somebody's processing these certificates because the car dealerships keep giving you new ones when you buy a car. You buy a car at the auction, they don't give you the old certificate. They give you a new one.
Can I say something?
Sure.
There's no controversy here, and I think that the newcomers, even though they want to ask questions, they need to understand that I've been doing this 14 years, and what I've found is we have a lot of really perfected processes that are not working. And so you got to stand back and ask yourself, why wouldn't a perfected system work? It's not a matter of us not doing the research properly. What it is you're dealing with a whole criminal racketeering outfit that has set this thing up, and for anybody to discover or get remedy or relief from a system that is basically treason upon the Constitution and insurrection with regards to your rights with that Constitution, if that was breached, it would end up becoming a tragedy for them and their corporations, and they would strive to have to fight with us as a human race as
Absolutely.
to maintain their survival. Yeah, and so what you're dealing with in 14 years of the paperwork that I've done, and I'm a private attorney general, and I know what I'm talking about, is that the chances at this point for you to get any relief or remedy is next to null or almost completely void, not because it's not perfected or it's not the right paperwork, it's because the criminals are absolutely at their juggler's vein with survival as to maintain this criminal activity they've been running on the American people and for the rest of the world, and everybody else is bypassing them, and they have nowhere else to go. So my best opinion of what you could possibly do right now is continue to do the paperwork, get it in place, because what was told to me from higher sources is that if you've got administrative judgments, if you've got administrative processes, or if you've been put in a situation where you're a victim and you can't get recourses because the government is right over the top of their head with denying you any recourse, is hang on to that paperwork, hang on to your processes, don't throw this stuff out, because at some point there's going to be remedy and relief for all of the disbursement of the funds that have been sacrificed on behalf of the good nature of the people, that have been taken away from the people, that will be reclaimed and dispersed. So hang in there. That's all I can say is that don't give up or don't think that this stuff doesn't work. It was supposed to work if you had a fair and honest government. But the reasons why it doesn't work is because there is no fair and there is no honest government left. There you go.
Right. Amen.
There's an old farmer here in Idaho. He worked in the White House during Reagan and Kissinger years, and I was looking at his property, and my wife being a history major, we would go and listen to this man for hours. I asked him about Patrick's process, and he said he's absolutely right, but the dirty devils in charge aren't going to let it loose. He says if by chance you might get it, he said he wouldn't rule it out that you can't. But he basically said you might be one of the chosen ones, is the way he kind of put it with a little smile in his face. And the man wrote the SALT II agreement. It never got anywhere, but he did write the SALT II. So when you listen to an old man who's been in all levels of the government, and now he's a farmer, and he's in his last years of life, and he's telling you these words of wisdom, you got to put it in context. Yes, there's got to be a remedy. I believe in that. My Bible says to come out of her, my people. So I have to come out of her, and I'm trying. But at the same time, we got to realize who the dirty devils are that are holding the the lock and key at the moment.
I got a question. So, who's actually going to start arresting the criminals? Where does it begin?
Well, here's the deal.
Can I talk?
Real quick, when I presented the $60,000 thing for a new truck at the dealership after I went to the bank, I had been talking to one of the salesmen about this and one of the other guys on the counter. And so they knew me. They were interested in what Patrick, and one of the guys was from Iowa originally, and so he was all excited to see how it went because he had heard about these things. So after I went back a few days later, and he goes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, the Secret Service was here asking about you." And I said, "Yeah, what did they have to say?" And I was pretty confident because I believed what I had was really, really close. And they just asked what I was presenting, what I was trying to accomplish. And then I asked my friend, I said, "Well, what did they say?" He said, they basically told me that. And then I asked, and he goes, "Well, what did you say?" He goes, "Well, I asked them if what you were doing was illegal." And I said, "Yes, what did they say?" And his response was, "Not exactly." So what I was trying to accomplish, the Secret Service looked at my stuff and then said, "Not exactly." They told me they wouldn't submit my stuff as a secured party creditor, but then when I showed them my checks and, they were void where prohibited by law, so there was an out on them. And I never presented them. I asked the manager at the bank, "Have you ever seen a transaction like this?" The answer was yes. I got excited. He goes, "What's your numbers?" "I don't have an account here." "Well, I can run it to the Federal Reserve for collections. It'll take 7 to 10 days. And I sent a lot of things to the Federal Reserve in New York. I'm from California originally, and so I sent a lot of things to the Federal Reserve in there. We're talking hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars to both of them. Never, ever got a call from anybody about what I was doing was illegal. And when I sent some copies of what I sent in and then put them to the office found, then I got a call from New York, one of the attorneys for the Federal Reserve, and he said, I wouldn't be sending these in. And he goes, well, I go, "Did you find my originals?" He said, "No, but these are copies of those." And he said, "Well, do you want me to shred them?" I said, "No, send them back." The very next day they came back overnight express. So you have to learn to push envelopes. You have to learn what you're doing and how to present it. And like the guy said earlier, until you see the reaction from the bank tellers and from the bank managers, you're never going to know. There is a little bit of trial and error in this. And when I sent stuff to the postal trying to buy an RV and try to do things a couple of years ago, we were sending things at that time to our postal. I finally got a letter, cease and desist, or you might get a visit. So at that point, I know Patrick changed directions, and so I obviously changed directions. But I learned more in that 6 months to a year. I just didn't have any cash to back me up at the time. That has changed now, and now I have a little playroom where I can do a little bit more and spend a little more time on this. I've had to do a few other things that have kept me from, doing more. I can study and listen to the group and participate, but now I've actually got the freedom and the time to actually now practice the things that I've been listening to. I have money orders going out by the end of the weekend, so I'm going to be pushing mine out. I got a car dealership down the street that I'm going to give one to. I'm going to put a deposit into the bank. I'm going to see what's going to happen.
And just a reminder, everybody. Just a reminder to everybody is that because I work with a lot of people's cases and whatnot, the first thing I always inform everybody is that we can do the process, we can do the forms, we can do the procedures exactly to what is specified in the law and not get any results or lose, because the manipulation of the political agenda of 21 that would have you be a slave is never going to let you win. And I have to let everybody know ahead of time that that's what they're faced with. You're faced with dealing with criminals all the way down the pike here. These people don't want to lose control because it makes you a slave and it makes their pocketbook full. So just know that anything that we actually do here, even if it's right all the way down the road, might not get any success. And everybody that is seasoned on this call knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, this is Patrick. I'm stepping back in here again. Okay, I've listened to you guys, and I thank some of you guys for the comments, and I especially thank that old Idaho farmer. Okay? Now, to bring this up to date, okay, in almost every court action that people have gone through out here, and see, you have to have gone through several court actions, okay? I was arrested twice, thrown in jail, okay? And basically then I went to court, and I stood my ground in those courts on those traffic tickets. And I learned in the court some of the actions. The one thing that everybody has done in going to these courts, they have never assigned that court to be the executor over the accounts, to bring them into adjudication. And I can attest to that nobody has assigned that judge or that court to be the executor. Have you? Is there anybody out here that has ever done that? Let me know right now.
Patrick, I tried.
I didn't use those words, but I did do it.
And I did it too.
I did it, Patrick, in my custody stuff, and the judge just ignores the crap out of it.
Right.
It was done.
One of the things you also didn't do, you didn't purge yourself from being a citizen.
Exactly.
I didn't come in with the last name. I didn't come in with the last name.
No, that doesn't. The name does not make a difference. Okay.
Well, I was a different party settling the matter, and I had already assigned it.
Okay, but that is a moot point. Okay.
Huh?
The two items that you go into court, you have to have purged yourself of being a dual citizen. Okay, and have lost your nationality. You have to purge yourself and basically have claimed back your American citizenship or your American executor status. And then
I'm not going to argue on that. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. You asked, and all I'm saying is that I wasn't the defendant, so I wasn't the citizen doing what I did. But I understand, where you're coming from, and I don't argue one iota.
Okay. But in almost every action out here, nobody has really done the two items that were needed. And then basically stood back. So really it's a threefold action. And most people do not know how to shut the hell up. Okay? You make your claim and then shut your mouth. Most people talk themselves right back into the system, not knowing what to say. They think they know, but they turn around and get right back into the system by keep talking. They talk too much. Only a few people can do that. And only the ones that basically have any experience in understanding the laws and everything and have taken the time can basically go in. But you have to know what laws to utilize. Too many people have been using the wrong laws and basically, therefore, not really fully understanding what is going on. You put yourself into their statutory laws, you're not under the statutory laws. They are. See, you are an American citizen. You are we the people. We the people set up the corporation, not to write laws over us, but to write laws for the corporation. How the corporation was supposed to operate. That's what all these codes and everything else. So you start going in there and referencing codes, and basically you're putting yourself right back into their system. You have to use the codes against them because they're the ones that have to follow the codes, not you. But if you don't explain that properly, then basically you're saying you're under the code.
It goes back to the Bible.
Yes.
If you live by the Spirit, you are judged by the Spirit. If you live by the law, you are judged by the law. And
you have to know which law you're operating with, okay?
Right. But when I was in court, I shut a judge down by telling him that there was a conflict of interest, and it was by his law, not my law. And he had to excuse himself.
Right. And also, if you basically stand by the Mosaic laws, okay, that basically Moses wrote, okay, and tried to put out here, because, see, Moses, okay, it wasn't an overnight deal that basically he got all the Hebrews out of Egypt, okay? It was a trial and error. He went to the Pharaoh's court how many different times? Daniel basically was a trial and error. He went several times before they fully pulled him out of the system. Jesus even went to the synagogue how many times before he was pulled out? And he didn't die, okay? Well, he did die, but basically he was about 150 years old in northern India, okay? But see, that's the story, but they don't want you to know, okay? There's a lot of stuff out here that these religious leaders and bankers and other controllers out here do not want you to know. They don't want you to know the truth. So they will try and hide it from you every which way possible, thinking that the canon laws are valid laws. They're not. They're man-made laws, just like 99% of these other laws that are out here, these codes of laws. Now, you'd be surprised how many volumes of codes of laws, CFRs, United States codes there really are. The Ag Department basically will fill up one, probably 30 by 20 room and have bookshelves all over the place just for ag codes that are out there, regulations and codes, rules and regulations, even all the court rules and regulations that they have out here. You know how many rules and regulations an American citizen is bound to?
Zero.
You can supply any document in any format into a court. It can be chicken scratching, and that is, you will find that in the statutes at large in the first volume. I even printed that out and sent that into the International Court of Trade, and basically I was trying to get through the clerk of the court's office, and the clerk of the court's office didn't even know about the statutes at large. That's how damn educated even the clerks are in a damn court. They have no idea about the real laws out here. Just like 90% of these bankers out here have no idea about what is a law for the monetary system. They don't know that there's two monetary systems here in this country. The post office monetary system and the postal office monetary system. Those are the two monetary money systems in this country. They're not the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is part of the postal system. But see, you've got to know and see everything operates around money. Asset value is what money is really assigned. And whether it's a debt money or whether it's lawful undebted money. And we want the unbounded debt money or unbounded money, our assets, something of real substance, something that has a foundation under it. But we do now know where we need to go. The Postmaster Generals, they are over the monetary system in this country. The governors are over the bond writers in the state. The postal debt money system, the insurance division of the state, the state banking division. I went to the state banking division, but there again, like the one guy was saying, I didn't have the right account numbers. If I would have had the right account numbers, basically I would have been able to give my certificate of live birth and walk out of there with money. But see, you don't see that if you're not going out there and trying this stuff. And then we have to come back and we have to analyze it, and then we have to make the corrections in the process. And that's what we're constantly doing. Okay? I don't sit idly by. Every night I'm up, down for about an hour or two, and then I'm back up. I think about something, and basically, wham, all of a sudden, basically a dream or whatever, it comes to me. I missed this, or I missed that. Okay? But that's where you really have to draw upon your third eye to pull this stuff together. You have this knowledge, because I'm going to tell you one thing right now. This is not your first lifetime on planet Earth. You had a body here before, okay? You don't just live one life. You've got roughly 12 lives to live in the 3 cycles of this planet before the great gathering is called. Your challenge is to, and this is a game too, your challenge is to gain the knowledge each time you live a life and be able to try and pass that on to your next life when you get a new body, because the knowledge is stored in your spirit. The spirit is what is out here. Your body is just a vessel. And basically, we haven't been taking very good care of our vessels. They've been rusting with all the cancers and everything else that these guys perpetrate on us. But we've got them right now. we know where we need to go. We need to renounce and purge ourselves of all basically swearing to a false flag, to where we lost our nationality. We need to claim that back. Now you become, and that is per the Expatriation Act of 1868, Chapter 242 or 249. You have that right. I told that to the Secret Service, and they said, well, we've never seen anybody do that. And I said, I am bound and determined. I will find the way. Jesus was bound and determined to find a way. He found the way. Daniel was bound and determined to find a way. He found a way. Jeremiah, Isaiah, all of the prophets out there, they basically knew the law. That's your challenge, is to know the law, the real law, and basically find the way out. And there has been deceivers in all of those different processes, because this system has been up and down numerous times throughout the whole Bible. The Bible is basically, like I said, I can't remember what I said, but basically the Bible is a book of law, okay? It's not a religious book. And there is no God but grounds of dominion, G-O-D, your grounds of dominion. That is your God. And your grounds of dominion is your vessel, because it was made up of the ground, the minerals of the ground. People may think I'm totally ludicrous or insane in saying this. But you go to the insane asylum and you will find some of the smartest people in the world. It was primarily that their family couldn't handle the truth when they were trying to tell the other people the truth. And then they get into an insane asylum, and then basically then they get shot up with all the damn drugs and everything to keep them in a state of total confusion.
Some of them are even homeless.
Huh?
Some of them are on the streets. They're homeless.
Yeah. And see, that's one of our biggest challenges, okay? We're still out here fighting. Now, when we can do this and come out, then we're supposed to, and our whole purpose out here is now to take care of the widows, the children, and the homeless. This is not just to put money in our back pocket. This is to help our fellow man. We want more people out here to gain the knowledge so that basically the next time around there will hopefully will be a few more people that stand up to these people before they get into trouble again. How many years did Moses keep the Hebrews out in the desert trying to educate them? 40 years. This is not necessarily an overnight slam dunk. But you have to walk the walk before you can talk the talk. But I was not going to do that, okay? Because I knew if I found it all on my own without trying to get it out to people, basically, if they took me out, then the knowledge would never get out to anybody else. Because from what I was seeing, there was a lot of misinformation out there that was not being properly given.
I have to agree with that, Pat.
I totally agree with you, Patrick.
Okay.
We got to do it. We got to do it in honor. And if we don't do this, what kind of legacy are we going to leave for the people following behind us?
Right.
Maybe we might throw it in jail. Maybe we might get arrested. Maybe we might get harassed. But we've got a big family here. If somebody's hurting, we'll come to your aid. But we need to know what's going on. If we're out there trying to do something, we learn from the failures or experiences and not do it in fear.
Right. Like the one guy was saying, okay, about the Secret Service, about doing the money orders there that we were doing about 3-4 years ago, okay? I tried to put some into the banks here. Basically, right now I'm banned from both banks, essentially, but that hasn't stopped me in all regards. I just wanted to find out more information before I start going back after them, because I can shut them down, and basically, if need be, I can end up owning them, okay? Because we got 18 U.S.C. 242 and Title 40, let me see, what the hell's the other one? 42 U.S.C. 1983, to where they deprive us, okay? And basically we can turn around and use those charges back against them. But we're not going to be the ones going into court because we're the executive officer. We're going to turn those over to and we're going to assign like the Comptroller General or the Postmaster General or the Attorney General, our generals, to go out and fight the battle for us. And we will make them the executor of those actions.
Okay, Patrick?
Yeah.
My name's John. This is the first time I've ever been on the call. I've spent the last 8 years researching law and codes and everything else, and I've tied everything back and what I've been dealing with. What you just said there, take a look at Title 15, Chapter 1, Section 2. I hit an attorney with the monopoly laws, and they admitted it was a judgment, and no one would touch us after that. Because the judge turned around and looked at me real funny. He knew it was me, okay? And I just turned around and looked at him because he knew I was getting ready to hit him with a $100 million fine dealing with the courts because it's a monopoly. If you hit that with a $100 million fine and you do it through what we did was we hit him, the public defender for holding paperwork, and we hit him through the Uniform Code of Bonding, and we defaulted him, gave him an opportunity to cure, and gave him final notice. And the very next time we walked into court, they said they had a judgment of $12.5 million on that paperwork. And they admitted it in court. It was a judgment. But the criminals ain't going to pay you. But it was already a judgment.
Yeah. And see, it's a false judgment, and basically you come in as the American Executive Postmaster, and see, when you turn 21, you got the right to vote. And it's right in the Constitution, okay, that you have the executive power because we, the people, are the executors, or the executive officers, not the executors, executive officers over the corporation. And the corporation cannot write laws against the executive officers. So we can come in and we can veto any bill, any charge, any claim against them.
And you can overrule executive orders. And I've been trying to tell people that for so long.
Yeah.
Because I turned around and said it don't apply to me. None of that.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We veto them.
I can give you one more piece of information.
Okay.
Okay. This goes back when Jesus was crucified. And the easiest way for me to do it is explain it as a red rose and a white rose. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Barabbas was a red rose. They set him free. His first name was Jesus.
Yep.
Okay? And the Catholic religion, the Last Supper, was actually Barabbas's axe. Okay? When you go in and understand state statutes and federal statutes, the crime is not doing what Barabbas did. It's human trafficking to its finest. And right now I'm trying to finish out some paperwork and throw that right back at him.
Yeah. And see, Barabbas was the living man, Jesus. Jesus, the one that got crucified, was his fictional person. Because how do you crucify a contract? You draw a red cross on it. There was no real crosses out there that all these guys were hanging on, okay? That's the blood and guts story that sells. But the religious leaders and the bankers and everything else, they're the ones that basically have been writing all of the Bible for the last 2,000 years. They couldn't touch most of the Old Testament because there was too much out there, and they would have been, what the hell's that damn? Counterfeiting the Old Testament. But they could try and rewrite a New Testament to get everybody to believe it, the blood and guts, because that's what everybody wants to read, is the blood and guts. Hell, you can prove that by going and seeing how much money, what's his name, made off of the Passion. I mean, hell, in the damn movie, the guy lost more damn blood. He would have been dead at about 1/3 of the way through the damn movie, because he would have bled to death for all the blood, everything that was being spilled. So, a lot of this stuff, we just need to concentrate on what is going on here, and we're on target on this. Now we have the numbers that we needed 4 years ago. We know that the passport is basically a passbook savings account. The passport shows you that. It's proof in the pudding. But it's been given a false covering out here. We know that there is no money in the Social Security number. They've told us that for years. But that number belongs to us. They tried to say it was an account, but it's basically a bank routing or a treasury routing account number. And then they have established and see, everything is in nines. That bank routing number, the Social Security number, is a 9-digit number. The account numbers that we have, the passport number, the number on the back of the Social Security card as a lifeboat, the number on the postal or the passport card is a 9-digit number. It's got a letter in it, so it's a lifeboat. So it's 8 digits and a letter. There again, another 9. Okay? So we need 3 9s. Well, what did they do? Initially, out here, when they didn't have these full post offices out here, they had everybody listed as the post office 5-digit number, and then they had a general number for everybody, and because most of us were on rural routes in the post office, so they had a general delivery number in the post office, 9998. So you still had a 9-digit number. Now they have given us our own individual post office numbers, post box or office numbers, with a 4-digit number assigned to that mailbox. And see, all mail is money. So now we have 3 9s. You turn the 3 9s upside down, and what do you get? You get 666. That's the number of the beast. The beast is underground. Now we'll go and dig up our treasury from them and bring it back into the real world. We have just killed them with the silver bullet. The bullet of truth. But yeah, I haven't had time to write up a flow chart. I've tried to do several flow charts out there and basically lay a lot of this stuff out. Some of the flow charts that I had out there in the past are still pretty damn close to being accurate. A couple of these guys have sent them back to me saying, hey, you ought to look at this flow chart. I look at it and I said, hell, that's the flow chart I wrote up 4 years ago. But it's appearing on somebody else's website. I have no problem. I have nothing out here that I copyrighted. So anybody can change anything that I've done. And I'm not going to complain about it. If you can make it better, please send it back. That's all I ask. The other thing is, basically, I ask that you try and help when we get out of the system, to go out there and help your neighbor. Don't just take this and run. But don't be afraid of these people, okay? They like to try and intimidate, but that's all they can do, is try and intimidate. Okay, any more comments?
Regarding that third eye, Patrick, I stopped using my license. I missed a court date in the fall, so I'm sure there's a warrant for me. I'm just waiting and waiting. But I've been carrying that passport for like the last 10 months, and I've been holding on to it. And so when this thing's come around, and here this little voice been telling me, you know, there's something to do with this passport. And I've been holding on to it, driving around in my truck with it, just keep doing what I'm doing. The court sent those tickets and failure, all the little different, driving without a license. Well, I should have never handed them my expired one. I had kids in the car, and I didn't want to deal with it. I was on my way up to a hot spring, so I just took the ticket. Anyways, the thing is, they sent it to a collection agency within, 3 or 4 months. When I tried to put some paperwork, when the judge saw what I was putting on there, he did not want me near his courtroom. So he just denied everything. So I'm just waiting for him to get me. Well, then I can produce my purge, my affidavit. In the meantime, I'm going to be playing with my passport and these money orders.
Yeah. Well, basically, you can if they've got anything out against you, okay, you can get a copy of that, and then basically you send it to the governor of the state as the postmaster, because all of these are postal documents. You send it to the governor, and you order him to execute it and to remove it off the books.
Purge and pardon.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick, it's Gita.
Yeah.
While we were talking, I was tinkering around on my laptop, and I wanted to get a Tesla, the car. So I went into Tesla. I selected all the ops and specs and stuff that I like. And then they ask you for your name, your address, and then they say you need to put a deposit down, but they need I said, okay, I'll use my account routing number and my routing number and my account. So I put in for the account the passport number, like you said, and for the routing number, I put in my routing number for letter G on the back of my Social Security card, and I said, oh, what the hell, let me try it. It went through. The deposit was confirmed for $2,300 to get the car. So I don't know, am I going to go to jail?
No.
You could have put it in for the full amount.
I couldn't, because they only ask you for a deposit to confirm that's what you want, and I have till April 23rd to change, cancel, whatever. But I was just tinkering around.
Yeah, but for the routing number, you should have used your Social Security number without any dashes. Okay, you did?
I did 3 different processes. First, I used the Social Security, and then I used the passport number for the account. It didn't go through it, kick back. So then I used another account. I figured I'd play around. And then the third time I used on the back of my SSN card has the letter G with my number in red. So I said, oh, let me try that, the bank number. I think Brenda had given it to me earlier. So I did the 0710 blah, 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 a routing number for that bank in Chicago. And then I put in I'm so nervous. I put in the passport number as the account, and it said confirm. People, This is so cool.
Yeah.
I was
and
just playing around. I'm
you
gonna
have
need
not.
You, Patrick.
Yeah. See, the Secret Service can only come after you if you have counterfeited something. And you did not do any counterfeiting. Okay.
Patrick, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Wait a second. Let me finish here. Okay. You did not do any counterfeiting. Okay. So at the worst, in anything that they try and come after you, is you made a mistake. Okay?
Okay.
And they can't charge you for a mistake.
I was typing that to Tom. I was talking to him while you were talking. He goes, tell Patrick, everybody's going to want to know. But I just did it like minutes ago. Just tinkering. So people try it. You never know. Yeah. Put your mortgage in there.
Well, I think that's great.
So it's great. A mistake. It's a mistake if there's a problem, if somebody comes after me. And I'll call you first.
Okay.
It's not a mistake. I do that all the time. And she's correct.
No way.
That's what they're doing. I do it all the time.
Yes. Is this Amor?
Yeah.
Hey.
All the time.
Cool. I'm so excited. My feet almost fell off.
You use the red number as a routing number?
I use the red
what
letter.
I'll do is I'll put together a packet and I'll email it to some people I do know of some stuff I've been doing, and you can see for yourself.
Okay, cool. Well, you got my email. You got my email, Amor.
I know it.
So everybody heard that loud and clear?
I think I've sent you some stuff already that you've seen.
You did, but I couldn't. I was too busy doing family stuff. I couldn't call back, but I sent you an email.
So you get the number on the back of the Social Security card
as the letter.
As the routing number. And
right.
You put the letter in, or did you change it to a number?
No. What I did was the letter corresponds with a routing number for the banks, the 12 banks. I just so happen to have G, which is Chicago. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Chicago is number 7. And the routing number for that bank is, what it is, 0710, blah, blah, blah. That's mine. Everybody has a different letter.
Right.
Whoever has G has the same routing number, but their passport number is different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hopefully, if it works, this can help people, with foreclosures and stuff.
But you put it in using your passport number as the account number, right?
Yes, Patrick.
Okay.
Cool.
See? Yeah.
Well,
that
you inspired me.
That passport number is the savings account number.
Yeah, that's what they wanted.
And see, that's
that.
the number that we were missing this whole time.
Well, it went through. So, Amor, thank you, too. Send out a package, okay, for all of us. Yeah. I have to go. My battery's down to like 10.
Okay.
Amor, is that the same package you sent me?
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it depends on who I was talking to.
You sent me 11 documents about 3 weeks.
I don't know. I have so much. Look, I'm trying to explain this stuff. What he's telling you guys is correct. Even when he was doing the cashier side, I paid off a couple of houses with that man. You got the proof. You've seen some of it probably.
Right.
But it works. I didn't want to say anything, but I just want to confirm that, okay? You're on the right track.
Well, that's what we need to have is group effort here. And when somebody has something, put the information out. That's why I set this group up, is to be a working group.
Eric, you heard that?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm still here.
Cool.
I'm still a little butthurt, though. I got yelled at.
Oh, don't worry. We all get yelled at. At least he has his teeth in his mouth.
You're still part of the family.
You heard that too, Marshall? Try it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Gita.
Okay, try it. My son just told me, he says, don't do anything, you might go to jail.
Well, I've had my eye on the new Corvette, so I think I'm going to go give it a try.
Yeah, plug in and do it. Patrick, thank you.
Well, you guys are still leaving out the UCC process. I mean, I know you probably say you don't need that, but I beg to differ.
Gita, where do you put the...
Very important.
Patricia?
Hi.
But see, if you're coming out of a system, you don't need the UCC.
Right.
No.
Okay.
The system needs the UCC, not you.
Yeah. Only when you stay in the system do you need the UCC. But if you're coming out of the system, you don't need the UCC.
I understand what you're saying. But I understand what you're saying, but I think I did a UCC one for her. The person I just spoke to, and you've never seen one like this. Trust me. If you let her tell you, she'll tell you you've never seen one like this. Trust me.
Well, I don't know. We've done just about UCCs just about every which way possible, I think.
You've never seen one like this. I look here, you've never seen one like this. Trust me.
Yeah. The one thing we were missing on most of our UCCs is basically we never assigned them to be the executor to settle the items. We were always trying to claim that we were.
Don't define being white. A white girl.
Did we drop out?
Where did everybody go?
I don't know. I'm still here.
Okay.
I don't know, a bunch of calls are dropped. I don't know where they're going.
You hear a lot of hang-ups.
I think Amor had some problems. I could hear him barely talking.
It was the FBI dropping in on his roof.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to make a quick comment to that lady. His son said, "Don't do anything. You'll get thrown in jail." I think inactivity is its own form of prison.
Yes.
You see, that's the way society has been set up, is that they're too afraid of trying something new. They want everything handed to them on a platter, you know?
Yeah, and one of the things for the guy that basically is driving around there with the license or without the license, you need to get a flag, okay, that "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and start flying that one too. Okay, I mean that's and there's several places on the internet that you can get those flags, and that's what you need to take in court also, that this is my flag here, not the red, white, and blue. That's a corporate flag. That's your flag. That's not my flag.
What's your opinion on the Marine that blew up on that gentleman that was holding the flag upside down? Did you hear about that?
No.
It was all over the news.
No, basically, see, he doesn't know what that flag is all about, the red, white, and blue. It's just a damn corporation flag. And see, when you fly a flag upside down, you're supposed to be in distress.
Yeah, well, this guy pretty much, he didn't know what it was. He just was pretty much just a military meathead, went chasing after him, and he started yelling at him, telling him to turn it right side up, and pretty much stole the flag from him.
Well, see, that's what we have out here for most of the police forces and everything else. Ex-military jarheads that don't have and basically like Wackenhut, security guards and stuff like that. Most of these are ex-military that have no idea about anything that is right. Only what they've been drilled into them.
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps myself, and that the military law it's a scary thing.
Yeah. It's all pretty much forced intimidation on you. Drill everything else out of you, and you owe your oath and allegiance to this. To the corporation. And basically that's like we're over there fighting wars overseas. The military was never supposed to be overseas fighting wars. The military was to protect the homeland.
What's your opinion on the world citizen movement?
Basically, this whole thing, okay, has to really be done on an individual basis. There is no real Moses out there to do it lock, stock, and barrel for everybody anymore. Daniel didn't do it for everybody, but he stood in the gate and was able to help people through the gate to get out of Babylon. But only after they came to the right understanding. And most of the people didn't leave Babylon. They stayed right there. And when Babylon fell, they fell right along with it. And that's what's going to happen to this country. Because this is Babylon 3.
Do you have an opinion on the world citizen movement?
No. I'm a nation citizen. A citizen of a nation, of the land, okay? The world citizen movement, basically, that's just another misguided item out there to keep people at bay from finding out their individuality. But that's my opinion, okay? And I'm not going to force my will on anybody. You have the right of free will. You use your will however you want to do it. I'm just trying to put out what information I've ascertained and tried to come up with as basically being the truth. Now, you can determine whether it's the truth or not. I don't really care. But I'm not going to take time to sit around and argue with people about it. You have to basically do some of this stuff on your own. That's all I'm saying, okay? So, I didn't really want to get upset with the, basically when you keep pressuring the same item over and over again, I will get upset. Because you're not, it's just like Cher in the movie Burlesque. And the young dancer there said, do you ever stop and hear yourself talk? You're doing a lot of talking, but do you ever hear what you're saying? And that's the problem with most people. They're out there running off the mouth, but they never really hear what they're saying.
Well, I was just trying to get a better understanding of what this whole process. I mean, you're like the grand master of all this, and I come in as a novice and try to get a better understanding of this, and everybody blows up on me.
Well, that's why we tried to tell you. You have to sort of sit back and listen, and then there's other audios out there that you need to listen to, okay? You just can't jump in today and know what we covered last week.
Well, I didn't jump in just today. I mean, I've been listening. I've downloaded all the way since January, and I've pretty much downloaded about 90% of all the material that's on the We the People. But have you listened
to
material
them
has
more
changed
than one
so much.
time? Have you listened to them more than one time? That's the problem. See, you can hear something once, and like, I'll give you a perfect example of this. The movie Forrest Gump. Do you know how many times I watched that movie before I was fully convinced that I saw everything that I was supposed to be seeing in that movie? 6 times. And basically I was seeing something that I'd missed in the previous watchings of it. After 6 times, I thought I pretty much was assured that I had seen and understood everything that was going on in that movie. But that's the process. You have to do some of these things over and over again. And then in some cases, you have to get up in front of a mirror if you don't have somebody to sit down and talk these things over with. You have to get up in front of a mirror and talk to yourself about them to get the assurance that you know what you're talking about. I just had the luxury of not having to stand in front of the mirror because I've been talking to people on the phone and I reiterate the thing over and over again. And half the time when I'm talking to them on the phone, my mind is constantly going and all of a sudden I talked myself right into something else. I said, oh, shit, we need to do this. But that's the only way you can basically go through this.
Yeah, but I'm a truck driver myself, and I spend about 13 to 14 hours in the truck, and I have all the audio back from January. I have on a MP3 on a thumb drive, and I listen to it, and I just practically blown out my eardrums. But I listen to it almost every single day.
Yeah,
I mean, I started off on the common law side. I started off with Bill Thornton, listening to his stuff and mastered his stuff, and then that's kind of the door, I guess, of the gateway drug, I guess you would call it, is when you start to learn all the occult and all the shit that's going on behind the curtain and who's pulling the strings and what's really going on. And
yeah, but see, most all of that stuff is all for naught. Okay, it's not going to help you get out of this system. Okay. It's misdirection, like Alex Jones and Ron Paul. Basically, yeah, they talk a good story, and basically everybody rallies around them and basically wants to fight the system. But basically, have they learned anything about what is really going on in the monetary system? No. And see, in some cases, you have to get to the point to where, hey, I'm going to dump all that, flush your mind, take 40 days off, and basically that's what I did about 3 years ago. I took about 40 days away from any talk shoes, anything, and basically just sort of hibernated myself and purged myself of all the misinformation that I had. And then I came back, but at the same time in that process, I was looking for something else out here when I was going through this. And I said it has to be all evolved around how the money system works. And then I came back looking for all of that, how the money system works.
Yeah.
See, everybody has to do their own thing. And see, you're driving the truck. Now, you only have one focus, and that is to hear. You're not doing any writing of anything. You're not seeing it. So basically, you've only got one sense that is in action. You need to basically get all three senses in action. Writing it down, seeing it written down, and then hearing it. See, everything evolves around threes out here. Really, it does. Okay.
Have you ever tried or maybe considered sending money orders to the Federal Reserve that's associated with your Social Security number, the bank?
Yes, I did that about 4 years ago. And see, we didn't have the right account number. We didn't have the passport number.
So, would you suggest trying it again with the passport number?
I would stay the hell away from the Federal Reserve. Okay, if you want to go anyplace, I'd go to the Treasury. Go right to the Secretary. You're the executive officer as a postmaster, and you put your money order, these money orders that I have, and send it right into them. You assign them, and see, I got it on there that we are assigning that postmaster, which is Lou at 20220-001. He is the head postmaster of the Treasury Department as the executor. Send it to him to execute, to bring that money order into final execution.
Well, my thought process was that since our government is insolvent and we're not, being the executors, then wouldn't we go to the source where the government is where they're getting their funds?
Where do you think they're getting their funds? They're getting their funds from our accounts that they're holding. Yes, they're insolvent because they're borrowing from us. They have no money. They have to zero their books at the end of every year. The end of September, the government zeroes its books. They have to borrow money to start up the next year. Where do they get it? They get it from us. They write bonds against our assets. They're using our assets as collateral. See, that's what I'm saying. You have to know how the monetary system works. And most of these people out here that talk anything about it, they have no idea how the monetary system really works.
The other thing you just said, your government. So which government are you part of? Are you part of that red, white, and blue flag or the snake flag? Are you part of the corporate?
We technically own it, so.
Are you claiming that you own the corporate government?
Well, we're the ones pulling the strings, aren't we?
Only when you know how to pull the strings can you pull the strings.
Are you claiming the corporate government? Are you claiming their laws?
They're our red-headed stepchild is what they are.
They're what?
I said, let's just say they're our red-headed stepchild.
Again, are you claiming their laws?
You have to purge yourself from being one of their citizens.
One of their
employees. Yeah.
One of their servants.
Yeah.
If you are, you're under their rule.
Now, see,
he has
you have
no
to
idea
step
who
back.
he's dealing with.
You have to step back and become the executor over them, okay? Or the executive officer over them, okay? As a postmaster. We allowed them to operate in this nation, and they're operating as a country within the nation. See, a country is a corporation. We're under the laws of nations, not under the laws of countries. There is no setup of laws of countries out here. But there is a laws of nations out here, and that's all done by treaties. And see, we set up a treaty at the very beginning called the Articles of Confederation. And our nation is called the United States of America. But the country is called United States of America. They left off the key word, the.
Patrick?
See, most people don't see that. And then they use the term U.S. in two different formats. One is for the nation, one is for the country. You have to make the determination of which one is being used where. Yeah, go ahead.
I just got a message from Gita saying she paid her full balance of her credit card bill online with the lifeboat number as the routing and her passport as the account.
Okay. So I'll have to make a change to the money order that I gave to the postmaster tomorrow. I figured I already was going to have to do that.
Okay. So that's what I should.
I two pickups. I know I'm already going to have to to make those changes because I used the EIN as the routing number instead of the other one.
Well, I'll try that too.
Has anybody ever tried doing the electronic check deposit through, like, you know how you take a picture of a check to deposit electronically to your bank account?
Well, I don't know. You can try that tonight and let us know tomorrow. I mean, the other girls are doing something. You might as well try something too.
Yep.
We're all on the boat together.
Yeah, and then when we get these things into the postmaster generals and turn them into the executive officer or executor over these items, and basically I expect all you guys are going to go out and buy up as many junk cars as you can if you can get their certificates of title. Just give a little back to the person that you bought the vehicle off and say, you know, you just gave me too much money. Here's some back. See, I told that to a salesman at the car dealership about those certificates of title. And, yeah, he's working there as a salesman on commission, and basically his eyes just about jumped out of his head when he heard that one. Because basically he could go out on his own. He doesn't need to be working for this car dealership.
Well, you would think that would...
Yeah.
You would think that would motivate him to make sure your paperwork goes through to get a car.
Yeah, well, he's hoping it was going to go through. He was, but see, I used the wrong number, so now he's going to be sort of set back that it doesn't work.
Okay.
But I'll get it to work.
You'll fix it, right?
And what platform is it that they use to transfer and sell these certificates of title?
What, the certificates of title?
Yeah.
Well, you'll send those into this state postmaster general or the governor, and make him the executor to bring those into settlement. And what they send back, I don't know. But you should get state bonds or something like that back from them in full value that you can cash in. Or they'll write out the money. Each state has a state banking division. And basically each state has a Secret Service office there. And each state has Treasury at the state capital. US Department of Treasury officials there. So yes, they can cash these things out. And then in the process, you would be canceling the debt that the government owes. You would start decreasing the state debt and the national debt. Because the major debt or creditor out here for all the debt for the country is we the people, not China. they've got everybody in this country believing we're the debtors. We're not the debtors when we stand as an American executive postmaster. We're the creditor.
The passport number. Now, do they generate that themselves, or how would somebody that doesn't have a passport get access to that?
Well, you'd have to get a passport, or basically, you just turn around and when you liquidate, and transfer your certificate of title over to the new account, the non-interest-bearing Treasury checking account, you would get all that value that basically is being held under that certificate of title, which basically is the registration document to assign that passport number. You wouldn't necessarily need that passport number, but basically all the assets that are being held in there would be brought out at that point in time, and they would be given to you in gold-backed bearer bonds.
You know, all this information is so overwhelming. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, see, a lot of this is covered in Title 46. And Title 46 is labeled shipping, okay? Shipping, okay? 2 words. Ship. You've got to have a vessel, okay? And a vessel carries cargo. Ping, P-I-N-G, is basically what they use in banking. It's a banking term to ping the wire for transferring funds.
Yeah. It's all like C language.
Well, but it's land language too, because you can ship something across the land.
Yeah.
And see, pinging, like I said, the bank on one end has to ping the wire to make sure that the other bank is on the line out there, and also that there is nobody else listening in to take it off, to divert it. So that is what pinging the wire is all about. It's a banking action.
Oh, shipping on the land too. If you get a delivery with a truck, it they call it the shipment came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use bill of ladings and stuff. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we tried most all that out here, but we don't need to do that. Okay. And
Patrick?
we don't want to use registered mail, and we don't want to use certified mailings, because when we finally looked at that, those are all postal trademark. Those trademarks belong to the corporation. And what are you doing when you use somebody else's trademark? You're doing a trademark infringement. All we need is the $1.30 certificate of mailing. The mail must go through. And normally it'll be there in about 3 days' time.
Now, do you think all this stuff is taught to the Freemasons at their temples? Do you think this is the secret stuff they learn, or?
Only as you go up the line do you get another bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
And see, all the financial managers at almost every bank has to be in the Freemasons.
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah.
It looks like I was wrong about the lifeboat number as the routing number. What she did is she took the first letter of the lifeboat, which is the Federal Reserve Bank number, and then she looked up that bank routing number in the list that we've posted on the Yahoo group.
Okay.
So there's a list of routing numbers for each federal bank, or Federal Reserve Bank branch.
Yeah, and I think F was for Atlanta. Okay, so you put the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, but then you used the account number as basically the passport number.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want,
so
I can.
What you get out of the Social Security card is giving you the routing number that you need to go. Now, if you were to go directly to the Treasury, you should be able to use the Social Security number because you would not be routing it through a banking system out here. Follow that? So you've got basically two routing numbers on that Social Security card.
The account number would be the passport?
The account number is the passport number. And it could also be, you could probably put that other number in there, that full number on the back of the Social Security card as the lifeboat number. Use that number with the F in it, and then take the F and put the routing number. So it has a dual function. Because you would have two accounts then. To basically, you'd have the mothership and the sub account. And you still have 9 digits in both areas. Does that sound right? It's worth a try that way too.
I haven't had a Social Security card for years. Do I need to order one?
Well,
be helpful. I know my number.
Did you get rid of the Social Security card, or
no,
did you?
Lost it. No, I lost it along the way, and I just never replaced it.
Okay, then you're going to have to try and get a new one.
Okay.
Maybe there's a facility like the passport where you can get the records without getting one.
No, you're going to have to get a new one.
Okay.
As far as I know, they won't give that out. Okay.
Okay.
But there should be a Social Security office in the area where you can go in and show proof to get a new card issued.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm on Social Security. I get my everything comes out of Winona, so I'll just call down there and ask them.
You'll probably want to get that new card because then that'll have a letter one on the back. Because I just checked my daughter's. I don't have a card with a letter on it. But I just checked my daughter's, and she's got a C on her card on the back side. And my new passport card, or the small card, not my passport, but my travel card, has also a C on it.
Okay.
So you're coming out of Chicago?
No, it's out of Philadelphia.
That's
my
out of
chart.
Philadelphia. Okay, yeah.
Tom, did you say you had that posted on the site, the routing numbers for all the branches?
Yes, it's back in the American Estate Banking folder, and it's the file is the Federal Reserve routing numbers.
Okay. Because I've got one here, but I don't know how current it is. But I'll look in there.
I could repost it in the current directory.
I would suggest that, and if we can verify it.
Okay.
Just to help everybody out.
Right. Well, I think that's what Gita's been using, but I'm talking with her now just to make sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, how much longer you guys want to keep going on this?
Yeah, we get it.
I'm still here with you.
Well, we've kept Patrick for 2 hours and 45 minutes already.
How long?
2 hours and 45 minutes. No.
Try 3.
Try 3 hours.
3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's go back to arithmetic here, Tom.
Well, I was on the wrong day. I was thinking Monday.
You're on Eastern Time and trying to transfer it to Central?
Well, I was on Central, now I'm on Eastern. That just makes me confused.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Now we're going to have to get him moved back to Nebraska.
Well, we're going to have to get him to someplace anyhow.
Well, maybe we ought to let the man get some sleep.
Oh, I'm doing fine. Don't worry.
So
okay, why we call this a night, and basically then we'll see Sunday.
Sunday, good. Very good call, Patrick. Thank you very much.
Okay. You guys
Thanks
take care.
again,
okay?
Patrick.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, Marshall?
Yeah.